Hi, and welcome back to Cooking Around the World with Iramu. We're in COVID lockdown still, so we're going to do a nice little recipe. Actually, today we're going to do, or this evening I should say, as it's now about 5 o'clock, we're going to do a dessert, something I don't do very often, which is that, peach and raspberry clafouti. Clafouti is just like, it's a pudding, which is really interesting. It's sort of like a cross between a custard and sort of a cakey feel. It sort of puffs up a bit like a cake, but it's a fluffy custard, in other words. The word clafouti is French, and I think it just means puffy custard. That's just a French word, clafouti. We'll get straight into it. What I'm going to do is you take some butter, you butter your pan, and then we'll put some caster sugar, line it with caster sugar. So, some butter in there. You can do this if you want to do it with a piece of paper, rub it in with kitchen paper or whatever, but I like to get amongst it with my hand. Now, make sure you cover all the bottom and sides with the butter. Don't worry if there's a little bit of excess butter down there. Left over there. Better quickly wash my hands, excuse me. Work it all, get some paper. Alright. Clean these up a little bit. And next, we'll take caster sugar. Put in a decent amount of caster sugar. Let's say take 2 tablespoons, but that's just whatever's required. And you shake it around the base of the pan, and you'll see the caster sugar sticking to the butter. You run the caster sugar around the rim. Once again, it's sticking to the butter. This will help to give the pudding, the dessert, a nice little sweet crust as it cooks. Okay, a little bit left over there, that's all fine. Okay, that base is ready to go. Now what we're going to do, we take in a large-ish bowl, we take 6 eggs. We'll add, open the cream. Oh, it's got one of these lids on it. I've got greasy buttered fingers, good job. So I can't get the lid off. I have to cut it out of it. Let me cut that lid off. Okay. Now we're going to add 3/4 cup of caster sugar. We use caster sugar just a little bit to line our buttered pan. 3/4 cup, which will go into the actual custard. We're basically making a custard. 2 cups of cream. Ooh. By the way, this is healthy.
Sure it is. Not fattening at all.
We don't make puddings like this very often, do we, Jack?
No.
Okay, there's 2 cups of cream. And we'll give that a quick whisk. This is, we don't do a lot of puddings as such at home. We eat dessert regularly, but I don't make a lot of puddings and baked things, generally speaking. But this is an absolute favourite. Now, we've got the eggs, cream and sugar. Now what we're going to do is add, this is a 1/4 cup of flour. Actually I should, sorry, so I'm moving too quickly for the camera. I'm going to sift it in, just to get the lumps out of it. Yeah. We'll keep whisking that all through. Okay. And next we're going to add some vanilla extract. Oh, look, you can use whatever vanilla extract I always like to use a nice one. You can get cheaper ones and imitation ones and all sort of stuff, but I like to use a nice vanilla extract because it just gives you that much more bang for the buck in your dish. Okay. Okay. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. Salt helps to highlight the sweetness of a dish. And we're just going to also add a touch of cinnamon, or you can add mixed spice, or just a touch. That should do it. About half a teaspoon. And keep that mixing. And folks, that's about as difficult as this is. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a tin of peaches. We should actually drain these off. So I'll get a bowl. Excuse me, Jack, I'm going to run around the back of you.
So do you put the brown sugar in at this point?
No, not yet. Goes over the top.
Oh.
Thanks. Control on me. Jackie's also my director, because I sort of forget sometimes. Okay, what we do is we line the bottom of our pan with peaches. And by the way, this version, peach and raspberry clafouti, that's just one version. I think the original French version of a clafouti is a cherry clafouti. Another favourite I like to do is blood plum. And I do like stone fruit, especially fruit and stone fruit that's a bit tart, because when you have this dish and you have the custard, which is sweetened, and you have tart fruit, and you garnish this when you serve it up with ice cream or custard or cream or all, and you really, I really appreciate just a little bit of tartness from those sort of fruits. So that's going to be heaps for what we're doing. Just wash my hand. I'm just rushing at the moment, by the way, so we try and get this done before we lose too much natural light. So I'm doing it in the evening for, this is going to be dessert for us tonight. Now, you put in about, the recipe asked for about a cup of frozen raspberries, but I do like to add more because once again, the raspberries are the tart part of this dish. It's the adds the tartness into it, so I like to add lots. If you have fresh raspberries are great to garnish the dish at the end. So you serve this up, fresh raspberries and a blob of ice cream or whatever on top. Okay, final whisk. Pour this over. This is a very, very quick dessert to do. Sorry, Jake, you all right? Oh, this is going to be big. But the original recipe states it will, this one in particular, they say will feed or serve 10 to 12 people. Not in this household. And with that, that flour in there, it will, as I said, you're basically making a custard with a bit of flour, so it will rise. When you cook it, it will rise in the oven. And as you take it out of the oven, it will will fall a bit, but still it'll stay. It's like an aerated custard. Amazing texture. I love the texture of this. Now, as Jackie was mentioning before about the brown sugar, you just get a bit of brown sugar. I'll do this with my wet hands. That's a good idea. And I'll just break this up a little bit. I'll just sprinkle brown sugar over the top because probably I've got enough sugar. This is just going to caramelise on the top. I think the recipe says 2 tablespoons, but I don't need to put 2 tablespoons. Okay. Now this just goes into a 180-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes, and you can, as I said, it will rise. And you just get a skewer, push the skewer into it. When the skewer comes out clean, it's ready to go. Bring it out, give it a few minutes to cool just a little bit, then slap some ice cream over the top. Now we'll put this into the oven, cook it off, and we'll come back when we're ready to, basically when we're ready to eat. So we'll see you shortly. Okay, we've had our clafouti in the oven now for taking a little bit longer than normal. Let's had it for almost 45 minutes. Normally 30 to 40 minutes, but this one, maybe because it's so deep, it's taken about 45 minutes. So smelling amazing in here. So we're just going to get it out of the oven and then we'll let it cool down for a few moments before we try and serve it. Oh my God, look at that. Spectacular. Okay, we'll just give that 10 minutes to cool down. I'm not even going to attempt to get anywhere near that at the moment. Oh, we'll give it 10 minutes and we'll come back and serve up. Okay, here it is. It's had about 10 minutes to cool. And as you'll notice, the edges now, where we buttered and sugared it, it's pulling away from the edges as it cools, which is exactly what we want. We'll just give it a little bit of a help here. Oh yeah, that's coming off quite nicely. A few little sugary bits that are fruity bits where the fruit was sticking to the edge, so that might make it a little bit fun trying to get it out, but we'll see what we do now. Just for a little bit of theatre. What do you reckon, eh? Just like a cooking show.
It is.
Would you believe it or not? Okay, and here's the fun part. I'm going to try and get a slice out of this. The first one's going to be probably a bit messy. Oh, I have it set in the middle. Oh. Lost some of our fruit. We can build it back up. Spray it with a few fresh raspberries. Bit more of the icing sugar. Snow. Lob of ice cream on it. Let's even finish off. A wee dash of cream. How's that? That's gonna be absolutely delicious. So
So you're going to start?
see you later.